Hello, Wonderhussy here, standing at the side of US 395, which is a relatively major highway running from Reno all the way down to Los Angeles. And I'm here at a spot that should be familiar to all true hot springs enthusiasts, the legendary Little Green Church. Why is this Little Green Church so noteworthy, you might ask? Well, it's just sort of a landmark that hot springers know as the place to turn off to hot spring paradise. That's right, whether you're blazing down the 395 from Reno or you're blazing up the 395 from Los Angeles, when you get to Mammoth Mountain, or Mammoth Mountain, I don't know, Mammoth Mountain is somewhere right over there. Anyway, right across from Mammoth Mountain, there's this Little Green Church, and that's the place that hot spring people know to turn off and head down this road into a hot spring wonderland. I'm not kidding. There's a valley just down the road here that is full of amazing hot springs. That's right, just back behind this Little Green Church, which incidentally, I don't know how long it's been since this Little Green Church was open. It looks like it's been closed for years and years, and there's no trespassing signs on the fence. The fence is falling down. Who knows? But anyway, behind the church, there's this huge, well, I was gonna call it a meadow, but I guess technically it's a valley called the Long Valley. Okay, like the Long Valley Caldera, if you've ever heard of that. A caldera is a volcanic, I'm not really sure, it's like a volcano. It's like a low spot, a valley with a bunch of hot magma just under the ground, and I guess it's sort of bulging up in the middle, and well, somehow it's causing all the water that flows through here to heat up significantly, and that's why there's all these amazing hot springs to soak in. Yeah, sure, okay, you're sitting on top of a volcano that's about to blow any minute, but they're amazing hot springs. Okay, let's cruise on down this road into this long valley, this gorgeous meadow, and check it out. Okay, you can see everyone and their Aunt Sally is out here. And who can blame them? Because aside from the hot springs, there's also really good fishing out here. A lot of fishermen come out here and go, I guess, fly fishing. And of course, just free boondocking, camping. It's all public land, so there's plenty of room to camp out. So between the van lifers, the fishermen, and the hot springers, it can get pretty crowded out here. Although I guess crowded is a relative term. I mean, there's a guy posted up over there boondocking. There's a bunch more people posted up boondocking. There's people all over this dang meadow. Although, looking straight ahead, it does look deliciously desolate, as if there were nobody out here. Now, unfortunately, I know that's not the case. I've been out to this Long Valley, if you want to call it that. I'm not sure that's the actual name of it, but anyway, I've been out here by the Little Green Church many times, and of course, I went to check out all the different hot springs. But to be honest, they're always so dang crowded. I've never soaked in any of them except one, and I think there's something like 5 or 6 out here. And there's some really well-known, beautiful hot springs out here, and I'd like to soak in them sometime, but I don't know, in the past, whenever I've tried rolling up to most of these hot springs, there's just too many cars and too many hippies, too many people drinking beer and smoking pot. I don't know, I got social anxiety, and I didn't even bother going in. But there is one hot spring I do like out here. It's just way, 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 way back in the North 40, and I'll probably head there later this evening. But before I go soak in that hot spring and find a place to camp for the night, I wanted to go check out the main, I guess the main feature of this valley. Okay, we're here at the nerve center of this magical hot springs meadow, and that is this crazy hot creek that runs right through the middle of this long valley caldera. You can see there's all kinds of crazy fumaroles boiling and bubbling and steaming. Well, believe it or not, as many times as I've been to this meadow, I've never gone to check this out. I always go straight to that one hot spring that I like, but I thought today might be the perfect chance to take a closer look. What does this say? Hot Creek, evidence of a fiery past. You are standing in the bottom of a large volcanic basin. This 10 by 18 mile depression in the Earth's crust was created about 700,000 years ago. 700,000 years ago. Basically, yeah, it talks about how there were these crazy volcanic eruptions, and now somehow water from the Sierra Nevada mountains, which are just right over there, I don't know, somehow I guess the groundwater, it says it flows down through cracks in the Earth's crust and becomes heated by the magma, molten rock. And then these steam vents and springs of boiling water and occasional geysers provide evidence of this area's fiery past. Wow. We gotta hike down and check out, look at those creepy, preternaturally blue pools. I think there's a hiking trail. We should be able to get down there and look at them relatively up close. Now, I'm not going to be one of those idiots like you always read about that goes to Yellowstone and there's signs up everywhere saying, don't walk out on the crust by the hot spring, and they do. And well, every year somebody gets boiled or degloved or they find a foot floating in the water. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to walk as close as I safely can and see what I can see. I'm very curious about this place, and I couldn't have picked a more beautiful day to do this. I mean, it's evening now, I suppose, but the light is just beautiful. The sun's going down. Just gorgeous. Oh, look at this. Fishing notice. Hot Creek. Open season and special regulation all year. Zero limit. Trout? How are trout living in this hot creek? I don't know. Maybe the whole thing isn't hot. I mean, from what I was reading online, I guess it comes from way up in the Sierra Mountains on the other side of the highway by Mammoth. I think it's called Mammoth Creek on that side of the highway. And then it's just called Hot Creek on this side because maybe the geologic activity or the calderas on this side, so that's what makes it hot. Okay, wow, from up here, you can see there's all kinds of little pots and pools bubbling and steaming, but then you can also see there's people bathing in the creek. And I'm not sure you're supposed to do that because there's a sign up here that says, Forest Service order entering or being in Hot Creek, including the Hot Creek Hot Springs and associated steam vents, beginning a quarter mile along Hot Creek from the Inyo National Forest administrative boundary and continuing southwest for another quarter mile, is prohibited. So golly, I don't know how these people, I mean, obviously I've done things that you're not supposed to do. You know, we've all done things we're not supposed to do. Like, come on, who among us hasn't driven over the speed limit? You know, certain regulations you go, nah, it'll be all right. Just this one time. I'd be afraid to go in there though, because there's supposedly these crazy hot steam vents and geysers that just come all of a sudden gushing, bubbling up, and you could get boiled alive. I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't know. Okay, we're coming into the Hot Creek area. It says it's closed at sunset. Oh, I should have enough time to check this out. I feel like the sun's not going to go down for another hour and a half. See, look at this. Danger. Scalding water, unstable ground. Keep out. But there's a bunch of people swimming in it right over there. And, you know, to be honest, I was talking to a guy once who was telling me that this was one of the best hot springs ever. And this guy's been to some good ones. But he said it was fun because you could get in the water and everybody would sort of be like just hanging out in a warm patch. And then all of a sudden, I think he said like a nice hot gush would come up and everybody would go, whoa. Now that I think about it, yeah, that's all good and well until that hot gush turns out to be boiling hot and somebody gets their degloved. That guy was a risk taker anyway. Okay, we're getting closer. Wow, this is going to be so interesting. It's a bummer that the sun is going down right behind them. It makes it kind of harder to see, but you can still get the idea. Look at all that steam coming off them. This reminds me of the video I made up at Lassen Volcanic National Park. They have an area there called Bumpus Hell that looks a lot like this and smells like this too. I can definitely smell sulfur. Okay, here's another sign that again reminds you not to go in Hot Creek. Effective December 30th, 2022 through December 30th, 2024. So it's in effect right now. It says going into or being upon national forest lands within 10 feet of Hot Creek. Oh, you're not allowed to even be within 10 feet of it? All right, well, I'm gonna stay well away from the geothermal activity insofar as I can. Somebody just sent me a video where apparently there's a new hot spring out here that was just created because this area, I guess, is in constant turmoil. There's all kinds of magma and whatnot bubbling under the ground here, and so I think new hot springs might be created all the time, and that's why they don't want you to go in this creek, because a new boiling hot spring could be created any minute. So I'm not sure why that video he sent me was such a big deal. Anyway, I'm walking all the way, well, I guess this would be west, to the west side, and we're gonna start here and then I'll walk back and see what we see. Okay, wow, all the way down at this end, it does look like it's a fishing area. How about that? I guess you could fish for trout just upstream from all those crazy burbling fumaroles. I guess the water doesn't get hot until it gets down there. I mean, there's no signs over here saying stay out, so I'm guessing this is nice, clean, pure Sierra snowmelt just rushing merrily along its way, and this creek is really flowing. Probably more so than usual because they got so much snow up in the Sierra this past winter. The town of Mammoth was buried. I mean, buried. I saw a picture online of the Carl's Jr. drive-thru completely buried in snow. They got so much snow this past winter, and now that it's getting hot, it's all melting, coming down here, and these creeks are going bonkers. Okay, we can actually put our foot in here and see if it's, I guess it's just gonna be cold. Let's see. It's gonna dip one toe in. Woo, yeah, woo. That is cold. Cold Sierra snowmelt. Okay, so I'm guessing it must still be called Mammoth Creek at this part, but then when it gets up ahead to where all that geothermal activity is, that's where it turns into Hot Creek. Okay, so I'm walking towards where we saw those boiling blue ponds, and I already see a sign. This is just around that bend there from where I just put my toe in. It says geothermal hazard due to the risks to health and safety. The area behind this sign is closed. So I guess this water is already hot. Oh yeah, look, there's bubbles coming up out of the ground. I think that's an indication of heat, isn't it? Don't want to go past the sign. I just want to put my hand over the water. I should have brought my thermometer. No, it's not hot at all. I mean, it's tepid. It's certainly not as cold as the rushing creek down that way was. Huh. You know, my guess with all of this is it's probably an awesome place to soak, but you do run the risk, however infinitesimal, of some crazy geyser bubbling up under you and boiling you. And, you know, that might only happen, you know, the odds might be 1 in 3 million. But you know how it is with the government. You know, one person gets boiled. Next thing you know, their family sues the Forest Service. And, well, next thing you know, the whole Hot Creek is closed off for everyone. I'll bet you anything that's what happened. You know, some pot-smoking jagoff got degloved. And that pot-smoking jagoff turned out to be from a wealthy Ivy League family. And his dad was an attorney. And, well, he wasn't going to settle for that. And so next thing you know, the U.S. government had to settle with him for millions of dollars. And that's how come these signs are up. You know how there's all those blue blood deadheads? I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happened. Wow. Look at how cool that formation on the other side of the creek is. That looks like a sofa or a shell or something. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer and zoom in without going past any of the signs, I should note. Look at that. Just a neat little, like, there's trees and plants, bushes growing up in the middle of it. That would be a badass place to pitch your tent, surrounded by that loving rock embrace right at the side of this peaceful burbling creek. Oh my gosh, it would be so relaxing to sleep right next to this creek. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to camp down here. You're not allowed to soak down here. You're not allowed to camp down here. Gotta be out by sunset. Rules, rules, rules. That's the federal government for you. Always looking out for your best interests. Actually, they say you're not supposed to camp by any creek right now because of this big melt that's going on. The creek levels could rise at any minute and your pretty little tent and your cozy little rock embrace would be washed away. Okay, we're coming up on where the real action is. I hope those people that were swimming down there don't think I was filming them so I could rat them out to the feds. You know, just because I don't condone their activity doesn't mean I would drop a dime on them. I mean, it's like you see all these photos and videos that people take at Yellowstone of idiots trying to get too close to bison or whatever. And I think that is foolish behavior, and those people maybe should be put on blast, but it seems just a little bit distasteful to me the way these videos are being shared and everyone's laughing at them and acting like they're the biggest idiots in the world. And then meanwhile, most of the people laughing at them are probably going home that same night and beating their wife or running red lights or doing any number of other stupid things. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone is what I say. Okay, wow. There is some serious steam. That's where those blue pools are. Unfortunately, you can't see them as good from down here. I might have to hike back up on the trail. Way up there was a better vantage point. Oh, look over there. Danger, scalding water, unstable ground, keep out. Creek closed beyond this point. Beyond that point, I thought all of this was closed. Wow. Steam looks so majestic yet ominous with the sun backlighting it. Oh, it's just like some boiling witch's cauldron. Witch's brew. Or as Miles Davis would say, bitches brew. Oh, here it's really fenced off. They really, really, really don't want you going this way. And I'm guessing, I think this might be where that new hot spring is. That video that guy sent me. I actually have it pinned on my map. I'll bet you anything this is it. Let's see. We're here. Oh, new hot spring. No, we're not quite at it. It's a little bit farther downstream. How about that? But this also looks like it's steaming. I mean, over on this side of the creek, I don't know if you can see that, but there's steam, a pretty good amount of steam coming off this. And then there's a sign here. Let's see what this says. I gotta be careful though, because it's on the other side of this little trickle and I don't want to get boiled. Oh, wow, yeah, look. Attention. Due to recent and significant increase in geothermal activity, this area and beyond has become unstable and unsafe for visitors. Wow, no kidding. So I guess that video that guy sent me was legit. There really is. I guess there was some kind of, I don't know, something happened underground that caused a new hot spring. I think my pin is somewhere right up there. A new hot spring to form. A brand new baby hot spring. How about that? Welcome to the world, baby hot spring. And you know, I'm very tempted. I could easily walk down that trail and I'd probably be okay because it looks like there's another, what do you call those? These things. There's another one of them down there, so they know people are walking down there. Matter of fact, I can see somebody walking down the trail down there. Better turn my camera around so he doesn't think I'm about to rat him out. Wow, yeah, you know, I would really, 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 really like to walk down there and poke around. But I'd be a plumb idiot to do that on YouTube with photographic evidence. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hike back up the trail again to where we had that overlook. And we can look down on those bubbling, boiling blue ponds again. So I thought those were really fascinating. Kind of a disappointment that we can't see them better from down here, but I guess it's better to be a little bit farther away from them. You know what I mean? Don't want to get boiled. Wow, look at this backdrop. I feel like it's a postcard. Ugh, it's just so beautiful. It's almost painful. Does that ever happen to you where you're out in nature? Someplace where it's just so beautiful, and it's usually a certain time of day and the way the light is hitting the water or the mountains just right, and it just makes you ache. Well, that's happening to me right now. Don't mind me, I'm just a big old hippie. Look at these crazy rock formations. This must be volcanic, what do they call that, tuff? Like stuff that was just blasted out of the ground eons ago and then hardened, cooled and hardened into these weird lumpy shapes. It's really rough, really jaggedy. And like, look at this plant growing right up out of the rock. I mean, there's like a little tiny pocket of dirt, and that's enough to sustain this beautiful but probably poison and deadly plant. Oh, I should probably wash my hands now. Oh, why is it that the most beautiful things are always the ones that try to kill you? Okay, I'm back up on the trail. Higher vantage point, safe vantage point from which to zoom in and observe these. Oh my God, I'll be honest with you, I'd love to be much closer to these things. I mean, if I could just be standing like on that white area there, I wouldn't go too close. It'd be pretty cool to see. And you know what? When I drove out here, I put in Hot Creek, Mammoth or something in the into Google Maps, and it actually took me to that side of the creek. And I thought, well, this isn't where I want to be. I want to be where all the informational signs are and like the trail and everything. But I'll bet you anything, you can park up there, and there, it looks like there is a trail going down. I'll zoom in. You can probably see there's those logs laid out leading right down to where those boiling, bubbling pits are. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I wish I wasn't so law-abiding. But then again, well, you know what they say. Curiosity killed the cat. Isn't that what they say? Anyway, I guess the creek, remember back there where you could fish for trout, it was nice and cool. Well, I guess it must pick up steam, so to speak, picks up heat as it passes through this geologic area. And then I don't know, like where those people were swimming down there, maybe it just kind of like evens out and it's just nice and warm down there. Wouldn't that be nice? And that would explain why those people were swimming there. I mean, apparently somebody was swimming down here because there's a towel left hanging in the tree. This is why we can't have nice things, people. But I don't know, man. I bet that's an amazing place to take a dip. Okay, now that we're up here, we can see, again, apologies for the backlighting, but you see those little boards there? That's where I didn't go any further because the sign was up saying, due to recent thermal activity, blah, blah, blah. So you could, if you were so bold as to hike along this trail, I'll bet you anything, that right there is the new hot spring. Because there's two. There's one, and then there's one on the other side. I'll zoom in. Looks like there's two steaming holes right there. You just hike up a little higher so that I'm pretty much right above them, and I'll check my map again. Oh wow, yeah, look. I mean, you can see there's a pretty well-trodden trail going right down there to the new hot springs. And I just checked my map, and we are definitely standing right on top of them. So this right below us here are all brand new baby hot springs. Oh, as if this valley didn't already have enough hot springs. Now there's more. You're just not allowed to go down and check them out. I'll zoom in. Holy cannoli, look at that. Those are going to town. Woo, yeah, I bet it smells real sulfurous down there. Man, it's times like this when I realize I'll never be a super successful YouTuber. Because to be a super successful YouTuber, I feel like you have to go down there and break the rules and sneak in and do all this stuff and then somehow just not get caught. I don't know how that works. I have a feeling if I went down there and checked that out up close, somebody would rat me out and I'd get a call from the Forest Service and I'd get fined and I'd get ticketed and I might even go to jail. And that's why I'm just sitting here looking at them from the trail like a good law-abiding ninny. Law-abiding wussy, you might say. Wonderhussy. I don't know though. I mean, there's a fine line between being brave and daring and being an idiot. And I feel like, realistically, what more would I see being down there up close and personal? Oh, who am I kidding? I would give anything to go down there and check out those hot springs, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to go back to my car and find a place to camp near that other hot spring that I know I can go in without getting boiled alive.